So in our last video, we saw that, whoops, turn on my screen draw. We saw that 1 million can be written like this. And we're going to need to know later, you don't need to take notes on this right now, but I'm going to give you a little preview. This is called standard notation. It's the standard way of writing it. Okay, so we can write 1 million like that, but we can also, if we want, package all of those zeros into an exponent and write it as a power of 10. 1 million is 10 to the 6th. If there were going to be one that you memorized, this is the one to memorize. 1 million being 10 to the 6th. So we're going to talk today about how to use powers of 10 to write big numbers like 6 million or 2 trillion or and also small numbers. So I'm going to erase this. We're going to just start, we're going to look at 60. We know 60 is 6 tens. Okay, so 60 is, we could also say it's 6 times 10. If we were using exponents, we could say it's 6 times 10 to the 1. 600 is 6 times 100, 6 hundreds. Or we could say 6 times 10 to the 2. So 6 million is 6 times a million. Or you could say 6 times 10 to the 6. Okay, so writing numbers, so I'm going to erase this and I'm going to give you notes. Here come your notes. Writing very large numbers as an integer times a power of 10. So let's talk about, so the stimulus bill that Joe Biden and the Senate and the House just passed, barely, is $1.9 trillion. So we're just going to round that up right now for ease. We're going to call it so let's look at $2 trillion. Okay, 2 trillion that's trillions, billions, millions, thousands, ones. Okay, 2 trillion. There's two ways you can do this. If you know that trillions, so millions are 10 to the 6th, right? I'm just going to write this over here. If you remember that millions are 10 to the 6th, and you know that place values, every time you get a new category, you go it's 3 places or 3 exponents, then you would know that, then you could get that 10 to the 9th is billions, so you could get that 10 to the 12th is trillions. So 2 trillion is 2 times a trillion, 2 times 1 trillion. And if you know that 1 trillion is 10 to the 12th, you can just say 2 times 10 to the 12th. So if you know your place values and your exponents, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it, 2 trillion is 2 times, and you can think this out, I'm writing it for you, but 2 times 1 trillion, billions, millions, thousands, and you can count zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2 times 10 to the 12th. Okay, so we can look at another, I'm going to erase this, we can try another one. So let's try 70 billion. Okay, 70 billion. Now this is not going to be scientific notation. It's okay. is going to be 70 times a billion. Okay, so you either know that a billion is 10 to the 9th, or you write out a billion and you count 9 zeros. And it's going to be 70 times 10 to the 9th. Okay, if you want, so this is acceptable right now. If you want, you can also say that 70 billion is 7 times 10 billion. And you can know that if 1 billion is 10 to the 9th, 10 billion is 10 to the 10th. Or you can write it out and count 10 zeros. Did I do that right? Yes. And this would be 7 times 10 to the 10th. Both of those, at this point, because we're not doing scientific notation yet, both of those are acceptable. So 70 billion, 70 times a billion, or 70 billion, 7 times 10 billion. And you either have your powers of 10 memorized, you can use your little reference card that we made, or you can write it out and count zeros. If you have your little reference card, that way it's going to be shorter. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is convert some numbers into integers times powers of 10.